And I've got here with me Chris Birtel from Wells Fargo. She is the Vice President of Wholesale Internet Solutions. Going to be talking a lot about women in technology and other stuff. Maybe if you could lead off and tell us what you do at Wells Fargo. What does that title actually entail on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I work in the Wholesale Internet Solutions group, and I manage a customer insights and analytics team. And basically, our data and what we do is focused on something called the CEO portal, the Commercial Electronic Office. And it's basically our business banking portal. And so the data we use is all the clickstream data of our customers. We bring that all in, we merge it with enrollments data and call center data, and we put it all together and figure out what our customers are doing and how we can improve their experiences.
Excellent. I'm one of those customers, so very happy to. You
Very
guys
good.
have done fantastic for me. What are some of the cool insights that you've gotten from your data that you maybe wouldn't have found out otherwise unless you were using a product like Tableau that helps bring that to the forefront?
Yeah, well, we're going through a complete redesign of our entire site right now. We have 90 products. And so when you think about redesigning your product, you want to, simple is really hard to do well, and you want to make sure you have a nice, elegant solution that's intuitive, easy for the customers to use, and then everything is connected. And that's really hard to do. So being able to surface the data in a tool like Tableau and show the different paths our customers are taking, and there's not just one way to do something. When you go to a grocery store, there's just not, people don't start all here and then they all go over here. They're doing, grocery shopping in many different ways. And same with banking. Customers are accomplishing their tasks many different ways, and we're trying to optimize all of those paths simultaneously so that every customer gets a really great experience.
Cool. So it sounds like you guys are headed towards like truly personalized banking, where I come in and you can start recommending products to me and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's where we would like to go to. And nice responsive designs. It doesn't matter whether you're on your desktop or your phone or whatever you're using. Just like Tableau with their announcements today, it's nice that you can do your banking anywhere, anytime, even if it's your business banking.
Cool, absolutely. Yeah. I was just checking on my account literally about 20 minutes ago, so I'm sold.
You're a believer.
I am a believer. So how does Tableau fit into the entire picture? How do you guys really squeeze value out of it for Wells Fargo?
Yeah, it was funny. I've been doing web analytics for a long time, and I started out at Kodak.
Okay.
And there
nice
wasn't,
move.
and there wasn't a path analysis or data visualization tool back then. And I remember, managers wanted to know what are our customers doing on Kodak.com, and I would have to cut and paste every little icon, like what the page looked like, and then the arrows, and then how many people were going from here to 50 PowerPoint pages later, you just want to cry. And when I came to Wells Fargo, I'm like, oh my God, please hope that things have evolved since then. Because with 90 products on our portal, I can't imagine doing that by hand. So the way we use Tableau is, the basic way a lot of people use it, just for basic dashboard reporting, how many people are doing things. But then again, the path analysis, so you can step through, and as you have questions, one question at a time, you can step through and say, well, what did they do next, and what did they do next? So it's really the interactive nature that makes it really nice for us.
Cool. And do they have some good out-of-the-box path analysis tools, or did you guys have to augment that with custom-built stuff, or what did that look like?
Well, we had to customize it. So for just basic pathing, they have nice out-of-the-box tools, but we have weblog data. And we wanted to merge it with things like call center data. So if 5,000 people call in about a problem, how do you backtrack that to what were they doing on the website? And so that's different types of data. You're merging it at point in time. So we end up using Aster, and we hook Tableau onto Aster so it can run live queries. And so we've had to be a little bit more innovative in that way, but my team is exceptional in every single way, and they've been able to figure out how to do that and get it to run.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And because you did attend the keynote, what were some of the cool products that you guys foresee using, or some things you personally were like, wow, that seemed like it could be really useful?
Yeah, for me, it's the data wrangling. Because our data is so gnarly, that really speaks to me. I have a really talented group of people. highly skilled, and to be stuck, cutting and pasting columns and cleaning data and merging it, and to be spending your energy on that versus analysis is really hard. But one of the things that strikes me about the Tableau conference compared to other conferences is the innovative nature of this conference. So last year I attended this conference and a few others, and I was really struck at the collaboration and the innovation and the fact that they send all of their developers, Tableau sends all of their developers to this conference.
It's a big investment, yeah.
I know, and I presented, and I can't tell you how many people after my presentation that day on the data night out would come up to me and say, we saw your presentation, we want to hear more about what you did and how you did it, because we've never seen somebody use Tableau that way, and we'd like to learn more and understand what you're doing. And the age, the demographic, the ethnicity of the attendees at this conference is just very inspiring, and it feels different from other conferences, who I won't name, that are awash in gray and black suits,
yes.
maybe some brown or blue crazy colors to
you can say
throw
old
in
white
there.
guys. It's totally cool. I'm down with it.
But you don't feel the passion and innovation there. People are closed off. They're not talking to each other. And you have to wonder, are these companies worried about their relevance? And where are they going in the future if this is the type of audience that they're attracting? So I think that this is something that is kind of special.
Cool, absolutely. Yeah, I love the openness of it. People are just sharing and really cool ideas. It's about giving everybody a good experience rather than just sort of we're going to close off our little wall and protect our data, which maybe probably isn't that important, and our processes, which
we're locking
when everybody
down the
shares,
data, and we're locking down the conference. Nobody talk.
Everybody have a great time and enjoy the vendor booths. That's what it comes down to, right? So speaking of demographics, you are a unique demographic in technology, being a woman, and I understand you were just at a Women in Data panel earlier this week. What were some of the interesting conversations or learnings that you had out of that?
Yeah. What's interesting to me is how many men were in the audience.
Cool.
And so, I was wondering, I'm like, what,
what are you guys here for?
how do I say this in a right way?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So
there will be no
what
socialization
attracted you to this session? And I got to sit with a group, and there was a guy in the session, and so I was waiting, what is he going to say? Why, And he said, I manage all women, and I'm in technology, and I would really like to understand how I can be more supportive of them, how I can help them grow and excel. And I was thinking this would give me some of that insight and information. So, kudos to that guy and every guy in there, and hopefully they, took something away. But, I presented, I was on the panel there, and one of the things that I talked about was there's less than 5% of women who are in leadership roles in technology and data.
Yeah.
And there's this recent Harvard Business Review article that came out that was titled, Why Do So Many Incompetent Men Become Leaders? And I made sure I told the guys in the audience, none of you.
It's not personal.
It's the other guys, but it's not you. What was interesting is this article says that we often confuse confidence with competence.
So true.
And confidence shows up as charisma and charm, and those traits are more often associated with men. But the greatest leaders, the trait that they show is being humble. And humility is often a trait that women have. So the paradox is what it takes to get hired is you have to appear confident, but what it takes to be a really great leader is you have to be humble. And those are kind of personality sets that don't necessarily go hand in hand. So what I wanted to tell the men and the women in the audience is maybe it's not that we as women have to lean in and become men.
Right.
Maybe both men and women have to lean in together, and we have to think about how we're going to hire more diverse leaders and how we're not going to be confusing the confidence with the competence, and we're going to be thinking more carefully about the different flavors that a leader comes in, so that we can bring more women into technology and data.
Absolutely, and I've read study after study that not only, I have two young daughters in technology. One is 10 and one is 7, and they're both they caught the geek gene, thank God, and they're on their tablets and stuff. And I'm trying to encourage that, and yet at the same time, like you said, wondering what is it going to look like for the current and next generation. One of the big encouraging things for me is I think companies that are more diverse, like you said, ethnically, age-wise, everything, you get more ideas from different perspectives. Do you think that's one of the big influencers that is driving folks to look at diversifying their workforce rather than in the 90s it was kind of a you must have this mix and blah 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 and all the buckets must be even. It was kind of forced on folks, where now they're actually like stepping back and saying, well, look at the data. Companies that are more diverse are more innovative and have better ideas and iterate faster and all that. Do you suppose that's one of the bigger drivers, or what do you see as encouraging for the next generation?
Yeah, I don't know. I report to a woman, and then we ultimately report to another woman, and I can say that it's been a really great experience for me, just having excellent mentors who are pushing the envelope and ensuring that they put more women forward and provide them with more opportunities. There's a lot of community groups and organizations around to be able to compare notes and share thinking and ideas that will support women and mentorships. But I find that these organizations or community efforts really give you the information to get started, but they don't help you when you're kind of mid-level or growing out in your career. And so I'm not sure what the formula is for that, but at the women's panel I said, now I just hope that I learn how to know my limit. So, I want to maintain the balance between professional success, but having success at home with my family and my kids.
Totally.
And so how do I just, go right up to, there's an article in New York Times about rising to your level of misery versus incompetence, right?
Oh, that's a good one. I'll check that out.
And I'm like, I would like to, just step up to misery or incompetence, but not take
over
that.
it?
Yeah, but not over it. So for me, having success is really important, and making a difference in other people's lives. But I don't want to be so successful that something else kind of falls off, like family. So I'm
tough
thinking
battle
of
for
that.
everybody.
Yeah.
Cool. And so you mentioned, I think, at a really valid point that so many men think that women have to change their behavior or something, and it's a meeting in the middle. It's realizing how men have to interact better with women, and do that. What are some tips you would give to say, like, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, let's say you had a really machismo coworker or subordinate guy that came in. What kind of things would you tell him to do better around women, to be more, give more space and allow you to have the kind of interactions that are more natural for the female?
That's
of
a
the
loaded
species.
question.
I know, that's a tough one. That's why I said I'm going out on the limb.
Something that I try to do is flex with whoever I'm talking to, and kind of take on a little bit of their personality or position that they're emulating. Mirroring, yes,
Yep.
exactly. And so either an email style or in conversation, if they're terse, to the point, short, then I am in kind. And if they like a lot of details and they, want to talk about their family or however they are, then I try to do the same thing. And so I think that if I had a person on the team who is like that,
Okay.
that maybe I would help them work on behavioral visual cues and and helping them understand and maybe emulate or empathize or put themselves in their coworkers' shoes to try to smooth over those rough edges.
Cool. I like it. So you've built a team from the ground up at Wells Fargo.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about how data sort of played into that entire exercise?
Yeah. So I've had to, because our data is very complex, unstructured data, I've had to hire many very smart guys who were very flexible, jack of all trades, ready to get their hands dirty, and just participate. We're using Aster, we're using Tableau, we're using Hadoop, and we're putting all these things together to solve real problems. And our team pushes the envelope more than any other team. And because of that, we're having a ripple effect within Wells Fargo, which is
Very
kind
cool.
of interesting that, even though we're a small team, within Wells Fargo, we're a really big team because peers and partners, they come to us and ask us, hey, have you tried this? Or we heard you've tried this. Can you help us so we can fast track to success, or so that we can, learn from you guys so we don't make the same mistakes? So we're often leveraged and asked to help out other teams, which is pretty neat.
That is fantastic. And I
Yeah.
understand you've studied both psychology and statistics.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
How I'd imagine that helps a bit with your data analysis tasks as well. What do you see as each one of those bringing different aid to the picture?
Yeah. Well, the truth lies somewhere in between the data and customer conversations.
Yep.
So if you're trying to innovate your website, then analyzing what your customers are doing right now doesn't help you innovate for the future, right? You don't know what they want to be doing. So you can use that data to try to figure out where their pain points, where they're stuck, what pages they seem to be spending a lot of times, and you can streamline, but you can't innovate really. And so you need to marry that with customer conversations. But even customer conversations, you have to be careful because, recall is kind of this fuzzy thing, and
Sure.
you forget the painful things that you were doing that maybe you now have a workaround, right? And so you forgot to mention the thing that, when you started really sucked, but you figured out a way to do it.
Right.
And people tend to exaggerate accidentally. You ask them what they wish they could do, they're put on the spot. They're like, I don't know.
No.
And they're very aspirational too, right? I mean, they have lots of ideas, but when it comes to putting the solutions in front of them, they may not use half the great, wild, harebrained ideas they have.
Right.
So when you're able to merge the psychology or the qualitative customer conversations together with the quantitative data, that's where you have some semblance of the truth and you can have a better overall strategy. So I think it's been incredibly important to marry those two disciplines and,
Very, very
use
cool.
that.
And does that feed into your hiring and promoting and mentoring as well? Do you look for certain types of traits, like somebody who's has a higher EQ or is more intuitive, or what
Yes,
is your
we give
hiring?
them all IQ tests. And,
EQ.
EQ. I try to hire very different people. We're a small team, so we've got consultants, we've got technology folks, we need every flavor of personality to make it work. And so we try to be diverse, and I try to hire people from different industries too, because I feel like you mix things up, you have new ideas, new approaches that maybe you didn't think of before.
Right.
So that seems to have worked out well for us.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's just getting out of high school or getting out of college and is seeing this video and saying, she's really cool and I want to be like her? Professionally.
Yeah, let me tell you a quick story. I would tell people to be careful that you don't limit yourself.
Cool.
And so I worked at Eli Lilly, and I worked for a manager way back when, and I remember he didn't believe in having team meetings, and I remember lamenting to the group manager, so-and-so, he just doesn't believe in team meetings, and I wish we had team meetings because then we could collaborate better, and I could figure out what my other team members are doing, and he just looked at me and he just said, well, have a team meeting then. You don't need him to have set up a meeting for you. And I flashed to that study where they have kids and marshmallows and sticks, and they make this engineering feat in 10 minutes, and then they have a bunch of adult engineers, over at another table, and they're still trying to decide on who's the leader and who's the spokesperson, and they can't figure it out. And it just seemed so obvious after he said it, and I felt so stupid. But my next job, the first meeting I was at, the team was lamenting about how the manager doesn't have
lead.
team meetings, and I was like, oh, why don't you just have your own team meeting? I was like, I got to use that. But I think that, as we grow older and move along in our careers, we forget the obvious, and we don't take chances. We don't, and we end up limiting ourselves. And I think that we need to just try things and take chances
Yep.
and really do the things that we're meant to do.
Chris, I have enjoyed talking with you so much. Thank you for
Thank
spending
you.
your time with us.
Thank you.
Lots of great insight. I think our viewers got as much value as I did,
It was
hopefully.
nice talking to you
Cool.
too.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks a bunch. Enjoy the
Take care.
conference.